mountaintop removal, and MTVF. Coal is a fossil fuel that the U.S. uses daily. Impurities in coal means that trace elements such as calcium and magnesium are in the substance that add to the pollution when burned. The MTVF process allows coal mining operations to become bigger and take up more space for their mining practices. It is known that this MTVF process creates more debris and pollution because of large quantities of rock that has been destroyed, releasing particles into the air. To dispose of extra rock and debris, they would place it into nearby valleys, which are now called valley fills. These valleys are huge, spanning about a mile long, of just debris from MTF mining. These processes are very tough to regulate due to the political and social bias that each person has. Local and national agencies have a tough time agreeing on rules and regulations for coal mining. The Surface Mining Act and Clean Water Act are the most popular rules and regulations among local and national agencies. The Surface Mining Act is to stop coal companies from mining too close to the border of a national park system. The Clean Water Act was heavily debated because of the water runoff from valley fills polluting a water source. The act was to protect water sources and regulate water quality, especially around coal mining practices and any other event that would cause pollution to water. The figure. Blue Ridge salamander is the animal that I chose for the figure because the salamander population is decreasing, which causes the insect population to go unregulated. This means there are too many insects because salamanders are not there in the numbers they were before to eat at a rate to keep them low. Salamanders are the most vulnerable to land use change, which is when humans alter the landscape by pollution or physical entities.
The streams of the Appalachian Mountains are extremely biodiverse. This is affected because of the mining, because of runoff. The coal that is mined runs off during different weather events and causes runoff into the streams, which increases the pH of the water, which allows the biodiverse ecosystem to not function properly. The head of the ecosystem is the star of the stream or the headwater stream, and the ecosystem is trickled down to smaller organisms. The head of the food chain should be fish, but because of the runoff and pollution in the water, it becomes the salamander, which throws off the entire ecosystem. Stream ecosystem habitat loss through the burial and degradation results from mining runoff and occurs in headwater streams. When the coal is burned, trace elements cause pollution. Invertebrates, vertebrates, and other stream aspects are affected because they are all an interconnected ecosystem. From wide consequences influence the insect population dynamics, regulate the food webs, and link streams, and this is all thrown off because of the runoff and pollution.
The first local environmental impact of mountaintop removal and MTVF is the composition of streams. The more blasting and explosions that go on within the mining process, the more sediment and pollution that goes into these streams. The second impact is loss in soil value. These mining companies attempt to save the soil for after mining, but vast amounts of it get lost due to erosion and oxidation, and the soil that's left over gets mixed together and makes it harder for the forest to recover properly. The third impact is change in hydrology. Due to the removal of vegetation and compaction of the machinery, there is a decrease in water infiltration and increase in the flow of water through these areas. So the water does not fully soak in, instead it runs down these areas. The first far-reaching environmental impacts of mountaintop removal and MTVF is the pollution of sulfate. Sulfate is released into the water when coal mining. When there are high levels of sulfate, this can also turn to sulfide, which makes the water more acidic and polluted and very toxic for aquatic life. The second impact is ions in water. Vast amount of ions are released as a result of trying to neutralize the acidity in the water. and these ions raise the pH, amount of solid particles, and conductivity within the water, which cause ionic stress and toxicity for this aquatic life. The third impact is loss of mayflies. Exposure to too much electricity can cause death and harmful effects. Loss of these mayflies have a huge impact on the ecosystem due to the vast amounts within these streams.
Reclamation, remediation, and mitigation of MTVF progress and pitfalls. What is being done to mitigate the local and longitudinal impacts? Recycle and reuse, soil treatment, which basically is moving the contaminated soil to a designated area to help improve the damaged area. Water treatment, this treatment helps to dissolve metals to precipitate from the water. Controlling gas emissions, are there any limitations? Resource extraction impacts, not having enough resources to help the damaged areas, financial constraints, social and economic factors, ecosystem, and water usage. What can we conclude? In conclusion, mountaintop mining with MTVF in the Central Appalachians is causing long-lasting harm to the environment. The pollution from mining is ruining not only the land, but also the water quality around it. The current efforts in trying to fix these damages is not working well.
Different activities can help to mitigate the impacts of mining, such as soil and water treatments, preventing rock drainage, especially with acidic contents, and controlling gas emissions. Reclamation options can include using biosolids from municipal waste treatment processes with water as an organic soil treatment to stop the harmful effects. Also, growing plant species that are more tolerant of acidic conditions. There should also be years of observation on the mined land to make sure that there is not harmful activities occurring.